Welcome back to Bad Ideas Garage, and today we're back here with the Mercedes R-Class, which continues to have some issues. So I was driving it today, and I noticed the smell of some diesel fuel, plus a little bit of smoke, and I think I've got another oil leak, and I definitely have another fuel leak. So a couple things we're going to do today. Number one, we're going to get it up on the lift for the very first time, and take a look underneath and see what's going on, because I've yet to actually been underneath the car. I've been on top, but not underneath. Secondly, we're going to do some oil changes and some fuel filters. I have here all sorts of fresh new diesel rated oil, as well as an oil filter and a fuel filter, and hopefully that'll help this car drive a little bit better, because I found out the oil hasn't been changed and it is 6,000 miles overdue. So yeah, it's time to get this thing a few more fresh fluids. Let's give it a shot. Alright, let's take a look underneath. Okay, first look at what horrors lie underneath. I've yet to be under here, so this is going to be a surprise to me too. Let's see. Oh, wow! It is so incredibly oily. Oh, wow! So, I don't know if all of this oil is from the oil filter housing. It could be, but I have a feeling there are other issues. Like, there's a lot of oil here at the front, which definitely could be from there. But, man, it is so oily even back there. And also, take a look at this. This tray is, wow, somebody hit something hard, and there's not much left of this. Okay, so I'm just going to take all that off so I can get a better look. Continuing down here, though. Let's see what else we can see. Yeah, it's just kind of wet and oily, kind of everywhere. This part of the exhaust looks pretty good. I know there's an exhaust leak, but it doesn't look like it's here. There's some damage to the exhaust right here, though. Not sure if this might leak. Could be. So the outer flex coating's damaged, but I'll have to turn it on and see the exhaust is leaking from here. It might be. Yeah, clearly oil has just been flowing down the bottom of the car here. That's quite a bit. Not unexpected, but a lot. All right, lovely. I'm gonna take this panel off and see what else we can see. Okay, put on some gloves for this job. I have a feeling I have to take this pan off. There's gonna be more oil falling on places. It's gonna be a mess. Oh, yuck. Okay, that's an impressive amount of oily schmoo. That just dropped out when I pulled off the pan. It was a butter knife. Okay, so with these plastic pans out of the way, we can see, yeah, things are still really oily. Even more so. I mean, just look at the amount of filth that is encrusted on the bottom of this car. I'm going to clean a lot of this up just to figure out where the oil leaks are. On the plus side, I do believe I just found our exhaust leak. If I look, not sure if I can get the camera in there. But, yeah, right above the DPF filter, there is. See the exhaust coming out of the turbo is utterly blackened, and it should not be. So the exhaust is leaking somewhere in that neighborhood, pretty clearly. So that's what's going on there. And then, yeah, everything in here, I'm just gonna hose down with degreaser and just make an incredible mess, really. But hopefully be able to identify where the oil is actually coming from, or was coming from. Ugh. Wow, it's really nasty. And I found the exhaust leak right there. That little clip, that should be basically clamped nice and tight together, and it's not. You can even see all the dark soot that's been working its way up there. Yeah, that is the source of our exhaust leak. I'm gonna give that a tighten. Okay, this is just kind of wiggling out of there. Oh wait, one last little bit. There's also a weird E-hex kind of screw on here. This is actually a screw, a bolt. So I gotta remove that too. Forgot about that one. That's a weird one. Mercedes, man. Okay, our first good look at the turbo. The turbo itself looks okay. Some oil and some grime everywhere. It's not that bad. Backside looks all right. One thing I do notice though, fuel leak, serious fuel leak. These hoses are shot. We're definitely leaking some diesel. So I think a lot of this grime is actually fuel oil. Yeah, so we may be in luck. We may not have too many oil leaks in this neighborhood, which would be great. But we definitely have a fuel leak. So that's fun. Okay, so here is the fuel filter. It's just kind of tucked right in here in the V of the engine. And there's like 3 bolts that hold it on. Unfortunately, one of them is obscured by the air intake plumbing. So we're going to have to remove this guy to get out of the fuel filter. It isn't too bad. There's only a couple electrical clips on here, various sensors, and then a couple of just standard Jubilee clips. Spin those out and the whole thing should just kind of drop forward. We'll need to loosen up these air boxes so they can tip out of the way on either side, and we'll just kind of be able to lift the whole thing out of there. Okay, all the Jubilee clips are loosened, all the electricals are off. Now I just got to loosen up the air box. So there's one bolt there, another one kind of tucked back there somewhere. We'll be able to get this guy kind of shoved over to the left. It should give us a little more space to get this plastic air intake off of here. Okay, that gives us a little bit more space. So now, kind of work the intake free off this side. Okay, we got it out of there. Things we're discovering already, like this seal is not in good shape. You can see it's torn, cracked, and just generally bad, so we will need to replace that. But I'm going to crack on right now with the fuel filter, which as you can see is leaking prodigiously. We're going to start by removing these clips right here and right here. And I think honestly these are probably part of the source of my leak. They look pretty old and they're definitely pretty loose. I'm going to replace them with good Jubilee clips. But I think we can just kind of pry these guys off. Yep, with a good screwdriver. Again, theoretically these are reusable and there's a tool that does it, but I want the security of a Jubilee clip so I know what's actually, how tight it actually is. These one-time use clips, I just don't trust them very much. And this one, oh yeah, this one's totally loose. So anyway, we're gonna pop both these guys off, and then we'll be able to pull this filter out of there. I think we found the source of our fuel leak here. You can see the end of that hose is pretty perished. I'm just gonna trim this guy down when I put it back on, and hopefully with a new clip, it'll seal up just fine on a new filter. Okay, we can't just pop the new filter in because the old filter has some stuff on it we still need. More specifically, there's a water sensor on it which we have to pull off and move to the new one. There's also the screw-in fitting kind of right here at the top. You gotta unscrew that, put it on the new one as well. But this filter clearly needed to be changed. It's really grody. It's clearly very old. So it was time to do it. Just 2 T20 screws and this will pop right off. Okay, once you pull out the sensor, it's quite long, so be careful not to bust it off. The other thing is there's these 2 O-rings here. Make sure you replace those, otherwise it might leak. And yeah, these, like all the rest of the O-rings in this car, are rock hard and probably not doing a whole lot. So luckily, I've got 2 new ones right there. We're gonna put on this thing and we're gonna slot the whole thing into the new filter assembly. Yeah, a good idea, by the way, is fill these filters up. So I actually just filled this new one with some fresh diesel. Having deprimed diesel before, I'd really recommend against it. It takes a lot of cranking to fix it, so it just makes more sense to pre-fill these in advance. Just a good idea there. Alrighty, the water sensor is back in there, nice and tight and all sealed up. Brand new, shiny filter. Let's put it back on the car. Alrighty, shiny new fuel filter in there. Nice new tight clamps. Hopefully these won't leak. We'll find out when we start it up for the first time. We see fuel pouring out here again, then we know we failed, but I think this will stop our major fuel leak. Alrighty, fresh fuel filter is installed. Let's give it a startup. So you want to cycle the key a couple times just to make sure the electric fuel pumps actually prime everything up. So we're going to cycle it. I can hear fuel moving. Make sure no fuel is actually leaking out. Looks good. Nice and dry right here. Alright. Alright, here we go. Success! Totally dry, everything's happy. Success! The last thing we're doing today is an oil change, and one of the challenges with these cars, you have to find 229.51 certified Mercedes oil. This is what I was able to find locally. It was on sale. It was $20 for 5 quarts, which was awesome, as well as a man filter right here. So oil changing these cars is actually super civilized. Let me show you. First off, the filter location itself. It's right here on top of the engine. You simply spin this out, the cartridge pops out, and you drop a new one in. Very clean, very easy. And down below, the bolt for the pan is right there. So you don't even have to climb that far into the car. You can just put the pan right there, drain directly into it, and be done. Oil changes in this car are dead simple. All right, the oil is happily draining away. As usual, the diesel, it's jet black, albeit even as soon as I put new oil in here, it'll be black almost immediately after starting it. It's just kind of how it is. But I think this oil is probably 5,000 miles past its due date. Not sure. It's definitely old, though. Okay, so while that's draining, we can now get onto the oil filter. There we go. Again, really straightforward on these. You can just spin them right on out. And once you do that, you can get right at the filter cartridge. So there we go. There's that guy, cap, and there's the filter. And it doesn't look new, but I've seen worse. It's not totally crushed in or anything, so that's good. Not seeing any metals or glitter or anything like that, so I think the engine internally is in good shape. Another easy thing to overlook, make sure in these kits there's usually a set of O-rings. Make sure you place them. There's a little small O-ring that goes right there, and there's a big O-ring that goes there. This will help prevent oil leaks, which is important. Yeah, I don't think that O-ring was changed in a long time. It came off in chunks and pieces and is totally brittle. So yeah, really good thing we're getting in here and changing this. Alrighty, pop the new filter on there and we'll be all set. Boom. And drop it back in the engine. Alright, new filter in place. Just got to pour the oil. And yes, indeed, it is full synthetic and it drinks a lot of it. 8.5 quarts for a full fill. Don't spill, don't spill. Mostly not spilling most of the way. There we go. So I was trying to figure out why the AC wasn't working very well. So I took a look at the filters, which live inside this box right here. They're actually really easy to get to on the R-Class. And this is what I found. I pulled them out and they are black. Normally they are charcoal infused, but this is something else. These ones are full of crud. They're absolutely black and they were letting absolutely no air through. As soon as I pulled them out and turned on the car, the AC started working vastly better. So yeah, these are getting replaced today because these are shot.